What's up, everybody? R-Bar here with another drive time book review in my ghetto car, my dirty car. All right, this time, Be Strong by Steve Spicer. It's about his testimony, and the subtitle is The Making of a Marked Man, but he goes through 5 core wounds that men experience, that women experience, that Jesus experienced. And here's the wounds in my order: fear, anger, deceit, shame, and sadness. Now, he listed in another order in the book, but I remember it by saying fads, F-A-D-S-S. And the book is so relevant because it talks about wounds. I mean, all you have to do is live life 5 to 7 years, and you're going to experience your first wounds. Whether it's from being neglected as a child or experiencing some traumatic event. My favorite thing about this book is that it's written in the first person. Spice uses I statements all throughout the book, and I love that because, well, I've heard way too many sermons that are told by saying we. You know, we struggle with sin. You know, the church struggles with anger, deceit, shame, and being a poser. No, man, this is about, he role models owning sin. He role models it, and it makes me want to follow along in that. So in the examples, he says, you list some of your greatest fears. Here, I'll go first. And that example led me to list my own fears in the book. Fears that I might mess up my kids one day because they see some inconsistency with what I preach and what I practice at home. Fear to go into deep conversations with my wife, and all kinds of fear that I got out in the book because Spice led the way for me. He role modeled it. Fear, anger is such a common wound. Common in my own soul, probably common in yours if you're being honest. And Spice talks about his road rage. And his road rage, he ties it all the way back to the fact that his dad never affirmed him. And he was dying to get that affirmation, that approval through other people. So it started in football, where he would start, every time he would tackle somebody, he would get that approval from coach. He would tackle harder and harder and harder, and he started in NCAAs, and then he didn't make NFL, so he was still seeking that approval, and he sought it in the business world. And then he got a job where they gave him a company car, and the more sales he made, the more approval he got. So the more he drove around, and he had a road rage. Not because of how people were driving, but because he was trying to seek that approval that he never got from his dad. Until his wife, Debbie, just put her hand on his chest one day and said, "Stop." He was about to fight this guy on the road. So that connection was made. Fear, anger, deceit, wearing a mask. Wearing a mask and being a poser. If you struggle with lying, if you can't stop lying, you can't stop bending the truth, if you can't stop being a poser and pretending you're someone that you are, then gosh, pick up this book, because it'll show you that there's a wound there, and 2, that it's okay. It's okay not to be okay. That's called a wound, and it's gonna be okay because there's healing in Jesus' name. There's shame wounds, and again, he lists the shame wounds he experienced through his dad, and it's a horrible story where his dad one time he couldn't stand his kid, so he grabbed the basketball and he kicked it over the fence. And those are deep wounds, shame and sadness wounds. If you have suffered any loss in your life, then check out someone who has experienced loss as well. Maybe you lost loved ones, maybe you've lost your innocence, something. But there's a reiteration in this book that there's healing in Jesus' name. That there's healing. And what you're also going to find out is there's also 11,000 men who have been through this program based on these 5 wounds that's listed in this book. And you're not alone. And I encourage you. It doesn't really give a pitch for the phase 1 in here, but I will. And the pitch is get into a community where you can experience and dive down deep into these wounds and experience the healing power of Jesus. All right, this concludes my book review. Go on Amazon and get this book. Peace.